welcome to episode 10 of Can I Do It Better with Ajax, the Champions League edition. So in terms of where we've been since the last episode, in terms of our league form, etc., which is not something we're focusing on, but I like to fill you in on, we've been doing pretty well, although the last game against Willem, a 0-0 draw, was very disappointing. But all of that's led to a decent league position of second, just behind Feyenoord. We've also drawn Feyenoord in the next round of the Cup in about a month's time from now in terms of game time. So that's what's happening in terms of how Ajax are doing in the other competitions. But as you know, we are only focused on this competition, the European Champions League, the European Champions Cup here in Football Manager. And the intention is to try and see if we can better the results of Ajax in their 2018-19 season, which in the end they finished in the semi-final spot. So it's going to be very difficult to better them, but that's the aim of the season. So far, it's gone okay in the sense of we qualified for our group quite comfortably in the end. Or not comfortably, there were a couple of slightly problematic moments towards the end of it, but we eventually got to the group stages and we sit currently in third place. You can see that Inter Milan, PSG and Shalke make up our group, and that Inter and PSG have played an extra game than us. They played earlier today, so Ajax and Shalke is the game for today, the return from the previous match that we've just had in the last episode where we beat Shalke. So I'm hoping for another positive result. If we don't get a positive result, you can see that we're adrift of the other two quite considerably. So it's going to be problematic to qualify from the group if we don't win today, really. So it's a bit of a crunch game. And then the last two games in terms of how they fall is PSG, then Inter Milan. So it's a tough group, and they've already both beaten us in the first games that we played against them. So yeah, today's kind of key really, just to get some more points on the board and see if we can put some pressure on the top two. So in terms of player injuries and other bits and pieces, there's not a great deal to tell you about. Per Schurz is out for a couple of days, but he wouldn't have featured today anyway. In the last episode we talked about the fact that there was some transfer interest in Daley Blind. This is not the screen I wanted to go to. My mind's gone blank. Let's go to this one instead. And if we go and find Daley Blind in our squad, you can see that he is now going to join Wolves on the 1st of January, which gives us a little bit of money to play with to replace him, but he's just not getting the game time and he's a bit unhappy about that. He's played 7 times, which I don't think is too bad, but you can see that our first team players have played about 16, 17 times. So that's the difference between them, really. And so he's unhappy, so he's off in January. I just couldn't find a spot for him. He plays in a position in the defensive midfield area where we're not really playing that sort of role. So it was always going to be a problem. So yes, so we'll have to do a little bit of business in January just to replace him and keep the balance of our squad. Although there are a couple of players in our reserves, of course, that have got long-term injuries. You can see that Veltman here is still injured and he's got another couple of months to go, and Sinkgraven is also injured and has got 3 months to go. So possibly one of them might come into the squad, but they're still going to be out for a long time, aren't they? So that causes a bit of a problem. In terms of the players that have just come back from fitness issues, the likes of Dolberg and Huntelaar, both have been doing okay, but have struggled a little bit in terms of getting back into the team and actually doing some stuff. And I think that Makienok so far, as a sort of third choice player who's kind of pushing Huntelaar out into the second choice spot, he's played 15 games for us and he's scored 6 goals. So that's not such a bad return. So he's in and around the first team squad a bit more than I thought he would be, with Huntelaar and Dolberg now back. But Dolberg starts for us, and Huntelaar and Makienok can fight for the other spot really as the sort of substitute, the second choice striker. So let's go and check out the team for today's game against Shalke, and pretty much it's a full strength side, other than Ziyech. He's suspended. He picked up a yellow card in the last one. That was a couple of yellow cards or whatever it is in this competition. So he's suspended for this particular game, and as I said before, Schurz is out injured, but probably wouldn't have featured anyway. So today's team is Anana in goal, Christensen at right back, Tagliafico at left back, Magellan and De Ligt in central defence, De Jong and Van der Beek in central midfield, Labyad as the attacking midfielder with Cerny on the right, Tadic on the left and Dolberg up top, with the bench of Sanchez, Mazrui, Regulon, Elena, Kun, Neres and Makienok. So that's the team. Really important game against Shalke. And so let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I let my assistant do the team talk. He had a good one, I thought, which was just to tell them that they're expected to prove a point today, and they seem to have gained confidence and motivation from that, so that's really positive. So that's all we're going to do with them in terms of team talk. So we're going to kick off and see how we get on. Now, Shalke obviously are at home in this particular game. We beat them in our home game last time out, but it's going to be a slightly difficult, different prospect when we are away from home against them. So we'll see what sort of, oh no, Dolberg, early stages of the game, has picked up a knock, has recovered fitness quite quickly, conditioning should I say, so maybe it won't be too bad, but we'll have to keep an eye on him. That's unfortunate, but yeah, we'll see what Shalke can do at home in comparison to they were a little bit poor when we played them before, so I'm hopeful for some points, but we've got to get off to a good start. And Van der Beek nearly gave it to us. Long ranging effort, but it was just slightly over the top, wasn't it, unfortunately. But a decent sighter at goal for him. So here's Labyad with the free kick. Again, over the top. Goalkeeper didn't have to do anything about it. A bit unfortunate, a bit disappointing, that one. But yeah, Dolberg, it's always got a little bit of a niggle. We haven't quite managed to get him back to full match sharpness yet, and I think that's part of the problem when you play these players and they're not quite at that level. They're all susceptible to another knock here and there, so we'll have to check him at half time and see what that, well, let's see what that injury is. Upper body injury, yeah, not too bad then potentially. But that brings us through to half time already. We had a couple of long range efforts, and you can see that in terms of match stats, we're dominating a little bit in most areas really. Shots at goal we've dominated, not so much on the shots on target, which is disappointing. Possession stats, we've got a slightly higher percentage, which is good, but it's still a little bit disappointing that we haven't managed to find a way to break them down. So we'll continue with our assistant manager and give him another opportunity with the same sort of team talk. Get everybody focused for the second half, and we'll have to keep an eye on Dolberg and then keep an eye on when to make our substitutions and how best to impact the game at that point really. But here comes Shalke, but we get a decent foot in. That was a really good defensive foot in, I think, by De Jong, and then Van der Beek gets an injury as well. How well's he going to recover from that? Not as quickly, is he? I think we're going to have to make a couple of changes now rather than risk it. So let's go in and look at these two players. Yeah, I'm going to take both of them off. We've got a decent replacement in Elena for central midfield, so he can come off. Come on, should I say? And Mackinock will have to replace Dolberg. It's not really what I wanted to do, but I think I need to protect those players a little bit with some important matches still to come, especially in this group. So Tadic with the corner. Can we get a goal and lighten the load a little bit? But it gets half cleared to Magellan on the edge of the box. Is he going to go backwards? He goes sideways to De Ligt and then to De Jong. That's who we want on the ball in this area. Labyad up to Cerny, onto his left foot, and again over the top. Our long range striking, as we've been having the chances, which is good, but they haven't been of decent quality, have they? But fairly recently I changed my style of play with this side and made it a bit more attacking, which is, I think, showing itself. We're less ponderous now, and I think that's better for us. Cerny with the left foot shot, and brilliant strike by Cerny. And I was so focused on talking about my new change in team tactics that I wasn't really paying so much attention that we had another highlight going. But Labyad found himself in space on the right hand side, taps it across into Cerny, who can run onto the ball and then gets it out from under his feet and then powers a shot in that far bottom corner. Goalkeeper really didn't stand a chance, and that's really helpful to us. So let's go in and just look at our players and see who's playing well. And Christensen's a little bit lower in his conditioning, but look at his rating. I'm not taking him off. We've got a problem in terms of Tadic isn't playing particularly well, so I think that's going to be the substitution that we make, and we'll bring Neres on for him just because Tadic wasn't playing particularly well. And that's the last of our substitutions, so hopefully for the last sort of 15-20 minutes that can help us down that left hand side with a bit more energy and conditioning maybe to do something in the last 10 minutes of the game. We're down to the last 5 minutes of the game now, and unfortunately it's Shalke that have the ball down their left-hand side. Are they going to sucker punch us? No, again, Frankie de Jong gets a decent foot in, which is brilliant. Makianok, a decent ball over the top to Neres, who, yeah, his cross got intercepted and cut out, which is very disappointing. Shalke go long, and what happened there? A collision, but it left... It left them in so much space, didn't it? And we were really, really lucky that the post kind of came to our aid a bit then, and we managed to get the ball clear. But we were living dangerously at that point. And again, down their left-hand side, Schalke come at us. And we need to keep our shape, keep our discipline, and hopefully get another of those sort of central midfield foot-ins, really, and try and nick the ball. They've gone right the way back and had to go semi-long with that. But they have found another Schalke player through that. And the near post, oh, dear me, I don't know what that noise was, apologies. But that near post, I think it hit the post and then came out, and we managed to get it scrambled clear. But, oh, what an absolute sucker punch in the last minute of the game. They get a cross from a free kick on the right-hand side of the penalty box, right on the edge. And somehow the goalkeeper comes out and gets a hand on it, but just isn't strong enough. And Nastasic, I think it was, poked it home. And that's really soul-destroying, really. We desperately needed the points from today, if I'm honest. I think that's really going to make it a very hard thing to qualify from this group, having not won today. But there we go, 1-1 draw. And in the last seconds of the game, we got absolutely done over by a Schalke side that were really up for that last sort of 5-10 minute period, weren't they? They really put the pressure on us. I can't tell them that they've done well and efforts were excellent, Mr. Assistant Manager. I'm sorry, I just can't. It's disappointing. I'll say that they were unlucky instead. I'll try and keep the motivation up as much as I can. But I'm so disappointed because now if we go and have a look through the news feed, we've been denied by a late goal. There's an injury from Dolberg again. He's out for a couple of weeks. Van de Beek out for 8 days. Not so bad. Got a little bit of money. Got fitness concerns. Okay, fair enough. Cherney played well. Okay, brilliant. That's fine. And then we go and look in on our group stage again, and we're now 3 points behind PSG and 4 behind Inter Milan, and we've still got to play both of those teams. That was a real missed opportunity today, wasn't it? But that's, you know, that's how it works sometimes in a difficult competition and a really difficult group like this. I think this is a really very hard group. But we'll give it a good go. Next out is PSG. If we come and have a look at our fixtures for the next few weeks, you can see that there's only a couple of games in between now and then for us in the league, which I will play, and we'll come back for the PSG game in the next episode and start praying that even away from home we can get an absolutely incredible result somehow, because we're going to need to, and then we finish off at home in the following episode against Inter Milan. So yeah, we're really up against it now, aren't we? But that's the way it goes. That's how it's worked out for this particular group stage. So we can't do anything other than play our games and do our best, which is what we will do next time out. So if you're enjoying this series, why not subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with the videos as I release them. And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not click a like on it for me and help me get seen by other people. It's really important for the YouTube algorithms to help me get seen by others, which is important for the growth of my channel. If you're playing Football Manager yourself, let me know how you're getting on in your save in the comments below. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.